So I sit here, the night of January 7th, and there are still only 8 episodes to Season 5 of Stranger Things. Hello, my friends, and Conformity Gate was not real. You guys gave it a hell of an effort. I'll give you that. You didn't convince me that there was going to be a 9th episode, but you sure as shit convinced me that you guys believed it. I was not convinced. I had hope for the sake of others' sanity, but I was not convinced. The season finale wasn't bad. I enjoyed it, but it's not something I'm ever going to watch again. The finale was just so underwhelming to fans, and the plot holes from the Duffer Brothers were so plentiful that they effectively gave their fan base schizophrenia. And I will say, the fan theories and the overall, narrative idea that the community cobbled together through all of these little breadcrumbs that they thought the Duffer Brothers left, it was a more interesting narrative and finale than the one we got. And usually a lot of times that's how it is, especially with adaptations, not necessarily with an original IP like Stranger Things. A lot of times for adaptations, the fans have significantly better ideas when it comes to narrative and creative decisions. The best rule of thumb that I can give for hardcore Stranger Things fans, as a hardcore Game of Thrones fan and a hardcore Halo fan, and that is to set your standards high and your expectations low. I believe that is true in this case, and I believe that is true in many regards in life, especially relationships, which is really fucked when you think about the fact that most people have really low standards but really high expectations. How that works, it's a query only for Christ. Actually, I think he would defer you to another religion because, I don't know, depending on which flavor of Jesus you follow, he wasn't a virgin. But that's the really out there secular ones. And I did say in my previous videos that I didn't think they nearly dropped the ball as heavily as they did with Game of Thrones' finale. But the more I think about it, the parallels are kind of uncanny. Both felt rushed. You had the Duffer Brothers for Stranger Things, and then you had David and DB, D&D they were called, for Game of Thrones. There's a lot of plot holes and oversights. The main villain they had been building up for years was killed in a very quick and anticlimactic fashion. It's also funny that the showrunners did say they took inspirational design elements from the Night King. Yeah, they're kind of similar now, the more I think about it. It also didn't help the Duffer Brothers that they just would not shut the fuck up. They kept tweeting out things, some were true, some weren't true, just to confuse people, but it would have been better if they just said nothing. They were going oh, there's a big twist. Oh, there's a spy amongst the main cast for Vecna. Oh, none of the main characters die. Why even say anything? Oh, there was another thing that was very similar to me. David and DB for Game of Thrones, after the last season aired, they went on this whole fucking spiel saying oh, a lot of the fans were expecting this to happen, and that would have been cool and it would have made sense, but we wanted to subvert their expectations, so we did this. And the narrative decision was objectively worse, just to subvert expectations. And the Duffer Brothers did something similar, where they said something along the lines of, oh, we wanted Vecna originally to have a Darth Vader character arc where he would resist the Mind Flare and turn good again, but we wanted to subvert expectations. Consider the fan base's expectations subverted. So hard, in fact, that they developed mass psychosis and dreamt up a secret episode. I do feel bad for the hardcore fans. They had some really cool theories. There were stretches, bigger stretches than a Bonnie Blue and Johnny Sins crossover, but they were really cool. They were really creative, and they were fun. I didn't believe a single one of them, but they were really fun to entertain. There's not many things in this world that continue to surprise me, but it will always continue to surprise me the level of creativity that fans will have for an IP that they love more than the developers themselves do. That's both in games, media, or any form of art. It's truly incredible. It blows my mind that there are writers, people whose entire career centers around writing a story, pales in comparison to a Redditor who spent 5 minutes on the porcelain throne shitting on company time, all while making below minimum wage flipping burgers. That's all I have to say about this. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video tomorrow. Love you, bye.